Well, good morning everybody. It's Wednesday morning and we're camped fairly close to the lock. Apparently this lock is very close to sea, but is a freshwater lock. As we got a little bit further today than we were thinking about, and we're not going to go up and stack today. The plan is that, well, there are two options. We either go around the next valley and kind of like take our time getting back that way, or we go up over the top and down the other side. And given the weather is reasonably calm, that's the option that we're going to attempt to do. It's relatively not too difficult. Relatively not too difficult, I don't think. So that's the plan. We're slowly packing up. I've got some bits and bobs up together. I've deflated the airbed. I've put most of my stuff down here ready. I've got a few bits over here ready. It still looks a bit of a mess, but it will kind of come together. It's mild. I haven't got my wind shirt on or anything under the cover here. I did put up the inner, and I slept in the inner last night because there were a few midges flying around. They cause a little bit of a problem. There's a few, I doubt the GoPro will pick them up, to be honest, but there's a few bites, but they don't seem to be causing, you know, too much problem. But they definitely seem to be bypassing my mosquito milk, which apparently is very good for, and is highly recommended for mosquitoes and things like that. I guess that's why it's called mosquito milk, but it's very good in Africa and places like that, but maybe the Scottish midge is a bit too much for it. I don't know what other people use, but they don't seem particularly perturbed by it, I have to say. Okay, well, we don't know whether we're on the correct path, as it were, but we're on, well, we don't even know whether we're on a path or not, but we've come up from kind of down where those kayak people are down there, you know, give or take a bit, but we kind of came around. There appears to be a path going down around the bottom, but we couldn't see it. Maybe it was overgrown, so we followed another path which came up this way, and then it kind of disappeared. And because we want to be going up that way, we thought, well, we'll carry on up here. But it's quite steep. I must admit, I'm pleased I'm not doing this by myself. I'm doing it with someone that knows what they're doing and how we work our way up through, you know, up through around there. I don't know how we're going to get through there. That one I'm going to, this is clearly, I don't think this is for your novice wild camper. I think this is for someone that has some degree of experience. So we stopped just below where Lassie was, and we can get up through that gully up there, and then hopefully onto the top of the ridge. If you want to, an easier walk is if you can work your way around the bottom, get into that valley, and then you could take that valley, that far valley, up, and then that would get you back to Stratham car park at the end of the arcade lock. Sorry, I can't remember the name, but you know, at the end of the lock where we started. So that would be an easier walk for, you know, if you just want something a little bit easier without tackling this, but that was pretty intense coming up there. That took about an hour to get up there, and we've not even done 1 kilometre yet. 80 meters in distance, and it's taken us an hour. Okay, well, we're pretty much, I don't want to get too close to the edge, but we came up that, and you can't even see down it, and neither one of us would want to go down it. That was not an easy, nice way up. I don't, you know, unless you're, yeah, that was a bit iffy. So now, anyway, we've got up to this part here. So now we're going to get up there, which does look relatively easier than what we've just done. Well, it still looks quite steep, but it does look relatively easier. I don't quite know which way we're gonna go from, because we need to avoid these rocks. So we're gonna have to figure out whether we go that way round or up over that way. I don't know. Pretty steep. I don't recommend this, I have to say, unless you're reasonably fit and you're with someone. This is pretty challenging. I will have to say, with hindsight, I'm glad we're doing it, but with hindsight, I probably would have chosen the valley down the bottom and just gone around there and kept it nice and easy. But we will, I think Chris is scouting ahead to see the best way up there. So we were on this ridge over here, that one there, and then we kind of crossed that, and then we're making our way up here. This is probably the easier bit, but we've climbed from almost sea level to 300 meters in less than 2 kilometers. You can see it's a long old distance down there, and we've got to get up there. I think it's kind of getting easier-ish. Not looking too bad up there. Hasn't been too bad up here. It's just quite big grassy steps all the way up. Okay, well, one advantage of having the phone, if it will time code correctly, is we're up here and I'm connected to the tentacle sink, which should be just there. But, oh fuck. And that's our packs just down there. And we got to find somewhere to camp up here. There's no water, just going to be some bog water somewhere. Probably my fault that we're up here. We could potentially carry on, but we have to go over that ridge over in the cloud, and I'm pretty tired. I'm not going to realistically do that. Plus, we actually have plenty of time. It's Wednesday evening today. We can get over that ridge tomorrow and down the other side and camp, and then an easy walk to the car on Friday. You could even, in theory, get to the car, you know, tomorrow if you pushed. But I'm running a bit slow, and the forecast was a little bit misleading when we checked, because it said not too windy and some rain, but it's not too bad. It's fairly sheltered here. Probably if we'd have got going a bit earlier and I was a little bit better over this stuff, but it's really quite rough up here. It's really hard work. You know, I really do not recommend coming up here unless you are with someone who knows what they're doing. We managed to get a bit of a signal up here, so the winds are gusting up to the mid to high 30s, so we're okay down in that coal valley, whatever it's called. There's more water there, so we're not short of water, but I don't think we'll be pitching up here because this is very exposed. You can see the lock over there, but we can get water there. I saw maybe 1 or 2 emergency pitches down here, which probably you wouldn't give to to Boris Johnson or Tony Blair, depending on where your allegiances lay, but we might just have to pitch up. I must admit, when the going gets a little bit tougher, you might just have to be less fussy with where you pitch, as long as it's sheltered. And there's clearly, you know, plenty of water up here. We just have to keep Lassie out of it while we collect. I think we're going to have to find a few spots just down here. Chris is over there. You can't. It doesn't look like you can zoom when you're recording. Okay, but Chris is over there. He's had a look over there, so we'll find out whether he's found anything better. I did see, like I say, 2 or 3 emergency spots down here which would do in a pinch. Plus there's plenty of water up here. It's not flowing, but that's fine, doesn't matter. I'll be boiling most of it anyway for tea and such like. Ooh, there's a frog there. Can you see the frog? Look at frog. Little froggy. I won't touch him, I'm just stab him. So there's Chris. We're still looking. Nothing there? Wet. Alright, so we're going to head over, not over that hill there, but just over this little hill here, and there might be some spots just over that, or a stick or something. What have you found, Lassie? Oh, Lassie. Good old Chris. 73 years old. For such young ones, certainly me, it's a shame. Get a gold star, Chris. So we've had to pitch very squiffily,
which you can see is okay.
So Chris is going to sleep at the back there. A huge gap down there.
And it's up a bank at the back there.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't go any further back.
Yeah.
This really is the only place
You've literally have squeezed it in there, haven't you?
Yep. And I'm now going to pitch that inner.
Yes. Yeah, I think you've got a good...
And you can see I've got a mug under the pole.
Oh yes.
Because it was sinking in, because the ground was so soft.
Yeah, looks good.
But,
I think so, yeah. I mean, you've got a flat area where you're sleeping anyway, that's the important bit.
As long as it doesn't get too windy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just show you where we put the Trailstar. This was a little tricky, I have to say. This wasn't the easiest, but we've got but we've got the cuben Trailstar. I'll show you inside, but we've got half of the Highlands inside. In fact, there's more Highlands inside the Trailstar than there is sleeping quarters, to be honest. All of that is a grassy knoll there. There's grass everywhere. I mean, this was the best that we could come up with. I don't know how well the camera shows it, but you've got, it's relatively flat over there, so we can probably do something with the inner there. We're going to have to try and sleep in that gap there. There's a huge grass bank right there, and then there's some space if Lassie had to come in. There's space bizarrely at the back where she could go, so there is even Lassie space in there. So we'll peg out the inner. I'm not sure if I'm missing a peg, because I've got one of those because I put a shepherd in there, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shepherds there for the inner. So spare, I've got that one peg there. I'm wondering if I've got a shepherd. I'm missing a shepherd somewhere, I think. And we've got some water down here, and that's the view. That's the view that I will be having outside the Trailstar. So that's not too bad a view. Not that you can really see much when you're sleeping with your head to the side, but that's the view out. So we'll have to hope the wind doesn't come up this way, but I can change the doors around, you know, in an emergency. But the wind is mainly coming, you know, that way. That's why my door's there, and you know, Chris has got his door over there. So let's get this inner in. Time is coming up to just gone 6, 5 past 6. And then tomorrow we've got to go over there, up over that one over there, and then I think a bit of a wing and a prayer as to how we get down. We've pitched down here. Chris is taking a few photographs. It's not the perfect spot, but it's as good as we're going to get. It's quite sheltered. Up here, we're literally nowhere near civilization, cars. You know, there's no way that we can get rescued up here. Well, not easily. And there's no way that we're going to be able to, you know, abandon camp in the middle of the night or anything like that. So we can't be doing heroics or anything, you know, daft up here. We can't be saying, oh, the shelter's nearly going to blow away in the wind or something stupid. So we found these sheltered places. They're not perfect inside, you know, but we've compromised comfort over, you know, over the perfect pitch. But generally speaking, I think we've actually got pretty good pitches. I think we're going to have to kind of like get in, and then it's going to be quite fun in there. The inner is, you know, it's definitely an interesting old pitch in there. I could even actually move that pacer pole to the right a little bit more, actually. I might have a little bit of a play. So we've got this little trickle of water, and Chris is just down there. Looks like he's found somewhere to get some water. It's freakingly steep up here. I must admit, I'm glad that we've got plenty of time, because like I said, we've literally got all day tomorrow to get over that mountain that's over there in the, you can't even see. I've got to take Lass's pack off in a minute, don't he? Looks like the water diviner has found a dribble. You're going to have to go down quite a long way to get any more. It doesn't, it looks like it goes underground down there, so it looks like you've found. Well, welcome to Camp Sunshine. I'll show you the view actually before we go any further. That's literally the view out the door. I need to take some of Lass's food out of her pack and give her some food, and she's just lying there in the rain. There's plenty of spaces around here. She's got a space over there that she could go. She'll probably come in if it gets any wetter, but we're holding up here. It's been an interesting day. We're at about 550 meters, so we're not exactly, we're not exactly on top of Mount Everest. We've picked this spot here. There's a huge mound of something here. I literally, other than a tarp, I don't think you'd get any tent in here. It just would be impossible. I've just literally put the center pole here on this mound here, and then I've just pitched the Trailstar just around all the grassy banks and everything else like that. I'm half contemplating lowering it a little bit if the wind gets any worse, but we're mostly pretty sheltered here, so I think we're okay as we are. If the wind's got any more, then I probably would just lower it a little bit and then get the door a little bit lower, because with the cuben Trailstar it's really quite difficult to get a low door. So we're really testing the cuben Trailstar out this trip, particularly this pitch, but I think we're okay. We could have pitched on the top, and we would have had a flatter, a flatter area, but it was more exposed up there. So we've kind of gone for the pitch that's maybe slightly less comfortable but doable, but more sheltered, because there is no escape from up here. If something goes wrong here, you can't just walk back to the car. This is really, really remote here. So, we pitched very, very carefully. So I'll keep a very close eye on what the weather is doing. I did manage to get one signal up there for just a few minutes when we were coming over the top, so I was able to update the weather forecast, and from what I can tell, it's going to be about this all night. Maybe a little bit less wind, but not really very much. It's about this the whole evening. It's not really going to change. It's not going to get any worse, and that's good. And if it gets better, it's like, marginally that, we're not even going to notice here. So this pretty much is what it is. I don't think rain is getting to me, because it's kind of coming that way, but because of the valley, it's kind of coming, across this way. I can feel some breeze coming in, but I am quite a long way back inside this one. So I think we're doing I think we're doing okay. It's been, like I said, quite a interesting, hairy day. The way that we came up, I would not want to go down the way that we came up. And I think we've found a way down over the other side on a ridge down, which I still think is going to be pretty steep, but hopefully won't be too bad. We'll find out later tomorrow. But it was a real challenge coming up here, and I do not recommend it to the faint-hearted. I wouldn't come up here by myself. I'd probably come to this area by myself again and maybe go try and get around the bottom and then, you know, just around and then up the other valley. I think that would be potentially doable. But I sure as I'd never come up here by myself. Absolutely no way. It's and I wouldn't come up here with someone who wasn't really experienced with what they were doing either. You know, it's tough. And I'm kind of glad that we stopped up here. The other thought that we had is if the going had been a little bit easier, is probably we would have got to the other side of the high point over there and tried to find somewhere to camp. But time was ticking on, so it was kind of, you know, if we'd have carried on, I think I certainly would have been exhausted. I don't think I could have done a huge amount more, and it would have potentially well, so the weather was turning in. It just, anyway, we've got this spot here, so we're settled in. I found a use for my chocolate bar. Bit of instant energy and morale boosting chocolate. So it was kind of good I brought that in the end, although I've got plenty of Nutrigrains and things like that I could have tucked into as well, which would pretty much do the same thing, in all honesty. So I think what I'm going to do, given that it's a bit sort of rough and I'm quite tired and it's late, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have soup with the croutons, and then I think I'll have the 450 calorie expedition meal, and then my meal I'm going to save for tomorrow night when we're down the bottom, sort of camp just outside the woods, and hopefully it'll be calmer, it'll be more relaxed. Hopefully the pitch will be a little bit better and there'll be more room, you know, to do things. We're very limited on what I can do here because it's so, I mean, there's literally a grass bank. This is a grass bank here. So I'm quite limited to what I can even, you know, to what I can even do here. So I think I'm gonna have some morale boosting soup. And then I'm going to have that smaller meal, because really then we've only got tomorrow as well, and I've still got a lot of crackers and cheese. So if I'm a bit hungry later on, then I'll have some crackers and cheese and reduce weight from some of the, you know, some of the heavier stuff before tomorrow. Not that a cup of soups is particularly heavy, but the cheese and crackers, although actually I could maybe even have just cheese and crackers tonight, because I've still got, you know, we're not going to be needing much for the way home Friday because we'll be quite close to the car. I might even just have cheese and crackers tonight, to be honest, soup and cheese and crackers. I think I might do that and not even have the meal. I think that's what I'm going to do actually, because then I can eat the Stilton. And that will save a little bit of weight. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's set the pot up and get this soup on. Oh, but boy, that was a trip and a half. like I said, I must admit with hindsight, if I'd have known it was quite as difficult as it turned out to be, I probably would have chickened out and gone around the bottom. But I'm kind of glad that we did it in the end. I don't quite know where I'm going to put my oh my god, it might fit in there maybe, but I'm glad we did it. To be honest. And it's kind of like those not literally once in a lifetime things, but almost once in a lifetime thing. I won't be up here again. So, oh dear God. Oh dear. I don't. Even that's not quite the right. Even that's not quite the right shape and size there, is it? I don't know where I'm going to put my pan. I think maybe there. I think there. It doesn't flare up, so I could do it at near the door, but it's quite wet and rain is coming in a little bit. It's not coming in on me back here, but it's definitely coming in a little bit. But like I said, if I'd have bought a tent, then I couldn't even have pitched here. We're trying to get this cooker set up here. I might put my... It's not that cold. It's cool, but not cold. I think I will put my down jacket on in a minute though, just to save me getting too cold. At least it's relatively flat here, so that's good. That's something. But boy, oh boy, look at this brass bank. Oh, bugger. Anyway, I'm gonna put this on, have my soup, and we'll catch up a little bit later. Okay, well, what we've got here is one dog. I put a food down, she'll probably eat it later. We've got all our water. That's the view out the door, although we can't really see very much in the cloud and the mist, but we're hanging on in there. I just wanted to show you the charging bank here. So we've got the phone charging up, we've got the earpods charging up so I can listen to a film in, without disturbing Chris. I've got the Tentacle Track E charging up. So that's 3 things, and 4 things. I've got my watch getting a little bit of power. I may not fill it up completely, I just put a bit in. It's coming down to 5 days, It's coming down to 5 days, which is probably 1 day of GPS, so I thought better just whack it just a little bit more power in just to get us back. But because we've been walking and, you know, doing a lot, we've not used a huge amount of power, because I don't know where the other power bank is actually. It's around here somewhere. I don't know, I'll find it in a minute. But I need to put some more power into the GoPro batteries there as well. But we've got that lot charging up, you know, at this moment in time. We've had cheese and crackers, so we've got halfway through the pack. And that's our view outside. The time is coming up to 9:45 at night, and there's so much light. It's still, well, I mean, I wouldn't call it bright, but you know, there's loads of daylight. It's ridiculous, really. I'm sure it was darker than this back home down south. I guess being further north, it's lighter longer, but it's like 9:45 and it's still, you know, completely light. Sunset 9:33, dusk 10:25. So we've still got, you know, another 45 minutes of dusk. It's only just sunset, really. 7 days. It's charging up slowly. Oh. It's in the quick charging thing, but I'm guessing it'll only quick charge certain items and won't blow other things up. I finished my chocolate. All gone. My morale boosting chocolate. Oh God, woe is you, you great big Jesse. If you have got this far, and if you can put a like, then that is the absolute best way to help this channel, by watching the whole video, liking the video, and if you feel like it, just dropping a comment below. And of course, if you're feeling extra generous, please do share my video. Very soon I will have a video where we go through Chris's kit completely. That is a completely separate, dedicated video to seeing what he brought on this trip, and obviously a couple more days, you know, to finish this trip off will follow. Once again, thank you very much for watching.